Hey, Sussy Stuff. I'm Emma,
I'm Blythe.
and we're here to review Auburn and Texas A&M. Let's get to it. Well, Auburn was fighting to keep their bowl hopes alive, and Texas A&M aimed to maintain their SEC championship and college football championship aspirations alive, and now they are teetering on the edge. How did you feel about this game?
First off, I was getting really sleepy and I was like, wow, 1 overtime. Two, three. Oh, wait, no, four. Oh my gosh. Absolutely insane. Like, I love Auburn personally. That is one of the best places I feel like there is to go and watch a game. I love the town. It's so cute. Like, I don't know. I just love Auburn. And I was so happy to see this. Obviously, because I like drama too, and so this is going to definitely shake up the mix of these playoff rankings.
Oh, yeah, big time.
A&M taking an L, and then they have to play Texas next week. That could be another L. We don't really know. That game's going to be definitely up in the air. But these fans at Auburn have been disappointed all year. I mean, the season has not gone how they probably expected it to go. This was a huge win for them. Storm the field. I mean, they did leave the goalpost alone, but everything else was just really exciting. Thorne passed for 301 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jarquez Hunter ran 28 times for 130 yards and 3 scores. And Coleman had 7 catches for 128 yards. So great day for them. This also became the league's last unranked team to win. Obviously, we talked about that in previous episodes with Florida winning and Oklahoma and Auburn. So this is absolutely insane. Reed passed for 297 yards and 3 touchdowns and ran for 66 yards. And Daniels rushed 27 times for 90 yards and a score. Absolutely insane. Everybody obviously loves a good overtime thriller. So really exciting for Auburn last night.
Oh, absolutely. And I thought Auburn put this away early when I was watching, and they went up to a 21 to nothing lead in the first half with 3 consecutive scoring drives. The key moment with Coleman's 63-yard touchdown grab, which was highlighting Auburn's complete dominance in this game. And so I kind of went away from this and put on the Oklahoma upset to Alabama. But then I was like, oh shoot, okay, A&M has now scored 24 second half points, taking it to a late 31 to 28 lead. The Aggies' third quarter drives of 76 and 73 yards tied the game and shifted the momentum. Both teams exchanged touchdowns and field goals in the first 3 overtimes. Peyton Thorne connected with Lambert Smith for that game-winning 2-point conversion and the fourth overtime. So this is bad news for Texas A&M because now they really, really have to beat Texas.
They do.
If they would have won this game, um, then it didn't really matter based on all the other losses with Alabama losing and with Ole Miss losing. I thought both teams could make the playoffs. Now they absolutely need to win this game against Texas or else they will not be going at all. So their playoff hopes are definitely in jeopardy. And now Auburn, they are improved to a 5-6. They need an upset against Alabama in the Iron Bowl to secure bowl eligibility. It is not at home. It is not at Jordan O'Hare, so scary things can't happen. And Nick Saban warned Texas A&M. He said, "No, freaky things happen there. It's not a good place to play if you're visiting." So that's what happened to A&M for sure. But Hugh Freeze, he got his signature win, his
Yep.
first victory over a ranked opponent since 2021.
Yep.
But A&M is really what we're looking at here because they have to win next week or else they will not be going to the playoffs.
Yeah, and it was funny because I listened to the post game interview, and that 2 point play that obviously proved the difference of this game in the fourth overtime. Lambert Smith said, "We ran that play since I've been here since the summer." He said, "We hit it every day in practice against the defense." And he said, "I was low key pitching for them to call it." So, how funny, you practice it all year, then you bring it, to the game on the field when it really matters, and you get it done, and it's a W. Like, how
How better.
exciting. I love that. I love that.
No, and I mean, the Aggies really squandered early opportunities, including a missed field goal and an interception. So they kind of did it to themselves, but they were still in it. Auburn just had a better day. And that happens sometimes. But Auburn now is heading to Tuscaloosa for the Iron Bowl with a slim hope of upsetting Alabama to earn bowl eligibility. I think Alabama plays so much better at home.
Mhm.
And they absolutely, this is their final chance. They get all the chances in the world, and it's ridiculous because they're Alabama. But this is their final chance to secure a spot in the playoffs, potentially being probably that 12th spot, maybe 11 if they're being kind. But they also will probably be that first team out. So they need to win this game. I think Alabama's heads will be in the game. And they will be playing at home. They do not travel well. And then A&M, they're preparing for a must-win
Yeah.
matchup against Texas in the first Lone Star Showdown since 2011 to keep their championship hopes alive.
Insane. And when we were talking about Twitter earlier, this was funny too. Right now I'm loving Auburn Twitter. Coach Elko last week, he slips up in one of his game previews, and obviously he's previewing Auburn for the game this week, and he slips up and says, "Oh, we're just looking forward to Tech." He's about to say Texas, and he slipped up and said, "No, Auburn." So Auburn Twitter has been absolutely clowning this interview. They posted that last night. They actually posted, I think it said, good luck against Texas or something. They were absolutely trolling this man,
Yeah.
trolling this. So if you have a second, look at their Twitter because it's absolutely hilarious. But it does make you wonder. I mean, was this team looking ahead? I mean, that is a serious conversation that we have all the time on here, and teams probably do it. I mean, they really probably do. I mean, they probably look at this Auburn team like, just another game. They've had not the best season, and maybe they were looking ahead, and clearly it didn't work for them. But it was really funny to see that and think, wow, even the coach is already like looking ahead to something else. So, that can happen a lot, especially at the end of the year. It's hard to win in November, injuries, everything else, yet playoff, whatever. There's a million things. Um, but to definitely be looking ahead already, and then especially you're thinking about that too during a press conference, that's bad news.
Yeah, it is, and I I think all of the upsets this week, that might have been the case. I mean, Ole Miss is
Yeah.
like, "Well, we beat Georgia." What do you mean?
Yes.
Like, we had to
No.
go into Florida?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
absolutely, like, we're gonna win. But Florida literally just beat LSU, who beat you. So
Yeah.
maybe you should take it seriously and not look to
Mhm.
the playoffs.
Yeah.
Same with, Alabama. I think they were
Yeah.
like, "Ugh, Oklahoma hasn't played well all year. Auburn hasn't played well all year. We just won the game that we had to win, which is LSU a
Mhm.
few weeks ago. So this is gonna be easy. We're just gonna go there,
There
have fun,
But I
and
think that's when I think what separates that too is when you've had a team that's been there and been
yeah,
in that big moment and knows what's at stake, you don't look ahead. Like you truly treat every game as the next game. And maybe this Ole Miss team, maybe this team, like maybe they just Texas A&M, like they've never really been in this situation before. So maybe they are looking ahead. Like there's no discipline when it comes to that. Like they've never been in these moments. So maybe that truly is factoring in for both of these two teams. And I mean, the longer you keep that mentality, the longer you won't be in that big moment. We talked about that all year with Lane and Ole Miss. I mean, maybe that's it. And I don't really know how you fix that. I mean, obviously I'm not a coach, so they definitely have to work on that though. I mean, going forward, because nothing's going to change. I mean, with this new era of college football, with NIL and transfer portal, like this is going to be how it's going to look every season now. It's going to be chaotic. Anyone's beatable. There's not going to be a real big difference in teams, really, like we've seen all year. Like nobody has been the team. I mean, we have talked about this all week, and every week we think, okay, someone's going to really be that front runner. Like someone is going to prove that they are the kings of college football. And every week it's the same thing. Nope,
it is. It is,
don't
and
know. I have no idea.
well, it
Really
is it's
don't.
absolutely insane. Again, it goes back to, like, they don't really have any depth, and
No.
what if we've learned anything this year, it's hard to play in the SEC, especially
Yeah.
when stakes are higher with the 12 teams now getting into the playoffs. I
Yeah.
still think that the SEC will probably get 4 teams in, and
Mhm.
I think one of those teams is gonna be 9-3.
Yeah.
It's the hardest conference. You really do have to look
Yeah.
at strength of schedule here,
Mhm.
and the SEC strength of schedule is typically very high, whereas Indiana, who lost by a very, very wide margin to Ohio State, their strength of schedule is like 106,
Mhm.
around there. And Alabama's is like 11, and Georgia's
Mhm.
is like number one.
Well,
It's
yeah.
and Texas
Poor
is
Georgia.
somewhere in the 20s or 30s. So you
Yeah.
look at strength of schedule and you're like, okay, well, this has been a lot harder of a road for these
Yes.
people to
Yes.
travel. Whereas
Yes.
people in the Big Ten, it might not have been that hard.
Mhm.
And that's why they've had these dominant and impressive
Mhm.
wins. I know at the end of the day, you do have to look at the wins and losses columns, but I think because it is 12 teams and you want the 12
Yep.
best teams, that's what
Yes.
they
Yep.
promised us were the 12 best teams
Mhm.
overall to make the playoffs. Put in the 12 best teams. And if that means you put a 9-3 South Carolina in there because you think today they're the 12th best
Mhm.
team, put them in and
Put 'em
let's see
in.
what happens.
Yep.
And this is gonna be very adapted moving forward. They're gonna
Mhm.
use this year to guide how they're gonna do it in years to come, as they should. They really have to incentivize those
Mhm.
championship games,
Yep.
because as Lane Kiffin said a week or so ago, he's like, "Why would I wanna play? That's just another loss. That's another reason to keep me out if I lose." Um so they're gonna have to figure that out, and they're really gonna have to figure out how are we going to get the 12 best
Mhm.
teams in there. Um, and you know what? We don't know anything yet. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll get it right.
Mhm.
We won't know that until December, but,
Mhm.
it is very exciting for sure.
We love
Um,
it. I would love to be a fly on the wall
yeah.
during this conversation in this committee meetings. I mean, because I truly think there's probably a common way that they all look at it,
Yeah.
but I do think half the people probably look at like head-to-head wins, or they call it style wins. How many did they win by? And then obviously the other people probably look at it as like truly like schedule. Like who did you play? How much did you beat them by? Like how much did you lose by? Like who did they lose? Like so I feel like there's probably major arguments that are happening in that room with, one half being one way and one half being the other way. So that's going to be really interesting to see too, kind of which way they go. And I think that will be evident with the when it comes to the final 12 when we see who is actually locked in, really what direction they kind of went with that.
Yeah, we're gonna see for sure, and we're gonna see how it shakes up as the playoffs happen, and then we will see how they need to change things moving forward, because things will definitely need to be changed.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna be unhappy. I know they thought expanding it to 12 teams was gonna make everybody happy. No, that 13th seed is gonna be pissed. The first 4 out are gonna be upset,
Mhm.
rightly so, just like Florida State was last year. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Florida State and Georgia, actually.
Yeah.
So somebody's gonna get left out, and it's gonna be
Mhm.
someone who probably would do well,
You would
and
do well. Yeah.
they just won't get an opportunity. So moving forward,
Mhm.
they're really gonna have to figure that out, but until
Mhm.
then, we're gonna watch and enjoy. So
Yeah.
make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We will be previewing all of Rivalry Weekend this week, in anticipation for that. Enjoy your Thanksgiving as well, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.